You may notice, when I'm not covering the screen, that we've added a word to the title, just to make sure that everybody understands that we are going to be talking about database deployment, not a particular construct in Kubernetes in deployment. As we proceed, my name is Jan Wieremiewicz, and I'm a product manager in Percona responsible for PostgreSQL.
And my name is Piotr Szczepaniak, very hard name to pronounce, I know. And I'm a product manager responsible for Percona Everest, which we will also show a little bit today.
Yes. If you don't know Percona, we've been out there for about 20 years, and we have been always true to open source. Our main value is to provide free and open software to everyone, so there is no not free software that we provide. All of our software is made so that our users can become our customers, can grow into wanting our support and consulting services. So we actually do want to make sure that entrepreneurship happens and it actually is successful. And when it is successful, we can help them scale further with the best experts out there. So this has been true for almost 20 years now. We started with MySQL, adding other databases like PostgreSQL, MongoDB, and Valkey now. And we have other products, and we want to show you why and what we did and how it can help you in your everyday life. So,
right, viewer discretion is advised. As I mentioned, there is a rumor that the local governments are actually thinking about creating a special rule for a limited amount of AI-generated images you can use in a single presentation. This man is crazy.
I'm guilty as charged. I have to admit that it has been a struggle for my whole professional life to prepare public presentations because of the fear that I'm going to infringe on some copyright. Thank you, AI. So until this is settled, I'm gathering a library of as many images that governments have not yet put any copyrights on, and I will be using them in the future. So my folder is around is measured in thousands of AI-generated images I can use in presentations already. So be prepared. Yeah, that's.
Hopefully, we'll have some fun with this.
Yes.
Right.
I will ask you basically about cloud managed databases, because we do see a lot of usage over the last decades of cloud managed databases, and I would say that there are some pains about them. Our wallet is one of the main pains about cloud managed databases, as I like to say. We see some of the known millionaires flying to space with the money that they're taking from us, from our cloud managed databases. What are the other pains that you see?
Right. So like Jan mentioned, over the past 10 years, we all know RDS. Everybody heard about Atlas. I think we all, or Aurora, or other public managed database as a service. They all bring a lot of benefits. We will talk about them, but they also have some limitations. And the limitations, it always depends on what you're actually looking for, what are the challenges you are facing. But while interviewing plenty of public DBaaS users over the past 2 years, I kind of listed out a couple ones that are repeating most commonly, like things like security and data privacy. We heard about data leaks and breaches so many times, and it's a little oopsie. It should never happen. Basically, all of the things to make it secure and safe are in place, but there's a human error or whatever else that caused data breaches, and it actually costs company a lot of money. Limited customization, you get a black box, you get what you get. A performance variability, things of a noisy neighbor, right, and many, many more, like compliance challenges, vendor lock-in, or the poor wallet that Jan mentioned.
Yeah, but the fact is that we know that there's a lot of bad things about them, but they're still super popular. And in a way, this kind of shows that this is what we are looking for. So I would like to learn from this. So for this, I would like an exercise. Let's imagine like we are on a mission. And our main mission is actually to deliver the qualities that our users, our business asks from us. And this can be a learning experience, looking at cloud managed DBaaS, what our users actually expect. So if this is a mission, let's basically talk about it as a main one that we focus on. And some of the best values that come from Cloud DBaaS are here. Peter, can you go over these?
Yes. So why are we liking the public DBaaSes so much, right? For their scalability up to the moon, flexibility, in terms of like elasticity in your configuration, simplified management. You don't need to be a DBA expert to manage RDS. Click through the interface, everybody can do it. Improved resource utilization, enhanced high availability, disaster recovery, these things that are giving us with our operator, as well as cost optimization, especially for the Kubernetes ones.
So for this, I'd like to start with a question. Have any of you played RPG games before? Like a bit out of it, yeah. I see people nodding heads, right? So I started with like a mission. So let's start this game like as we are in a game together. Let's go on an adventure. And to start, we need to define our main mission. In so many games, I've noticed that I'm saving the world, and yet I'm going to kill some spiders and gather some misplaced pots for some granny. And here, I see there's a bit of a familiar situation very often, as we are looking for end values for the main goal for us, and yet at the same time we are focusing on some not necessarily most important details that are actually obstacles and not something that we should be looking for. And the second question I would like to ask is, any of you running databases on Kubernetes or are actually planning to do that? I see some hands. Less people than people play RPG games. I see that RPGs are still a better trend to follow. The geek in me is very happy. So I'd like to finish this questioning exercise with an ask. So let's play a game. And in this, I'm going to ask you, how many do you think that I will get? I just went to operator.io and I asked how many PostgreSQL operators can I get. It's very close. So currently on operator hub.io, I will get 11 specifically designed operators to deploy PostgreSQL. Each has its own twists. Each has its own approach to particular lifecycle management operations, and yeah.
Yeah, another challenge with operators is, even if it fits you well today, they are moving so fast and there are so many new popping up. Some of the old ones are dying. Are you sure that the one you're picking today is going to be the best one for you in a year, 2 or 5? Or are you going to have to go through the pain of replacing operator down the line?
You can also see that there's 15 here, right? And not all of them are actually specific ones that you want to deploy for PostgreSQL. So we have to get into the details of everyone. It's not easy. So it kind of makes me feel like we're playing America Got Talent. Like you have to go and look at every single one operator and choose which one is better. Some have downsides, some don't. Yeah, see? I told you this is going to be fun with images. It's like, I really feel I'm living in a meme at times when we're discussing which operator to choose.
Yeah, and that's totally understandable, the meme feeling. It's really not easy to pick the operator. We will dive deeper today on why we think this is not easy. And like I mentioned previously, like, does it mean that it's today this is the good one? Does it mean that tomorrow or in a year it's also going to be the right operator?
So at first glance, this table does not seem intimidating. It doesn't seem super complicated. There are some twists. There are some familiar values, like the same ones. In a way, I don't see how this is so complicated.
Yeah, true. At first glance, it looks simple, easy. Everybody almost supports the same thing. There are just minor details. The moment you start actually implementing those operators and diving deeper into the technical requirements of your setup, your configuration, this is where it all starting to come up when you start learning on a forum. Oh, if you would use X operator, you wouldn't have this issue. They don't mention you have 30 different ones. So we will dive a little bit deeper into one of those elements.
Let's take the first one. We have every single one is the same, right?
Yeah.
All of them provide high availability, right?
All of them are HA.
So,
But really,
yeah, it seems that the elephant devil is in the details here. It seems that there is actually a different approach to some of them. As I don't know how many of you are PostgreSQL DBAs. PostgreSQL DBAs are familiar with particular solutions to deliver high availability. Patroni, delivered by Zalando, is one of them. It's one of the tools that is known to help with automatic failover. And right now, most of the databases use Patroni. Some, because of the, let's say, the downsides, the deficits of stateful sets, chose to implement their own very successful tools to do that. Though a DBA familiar with patroning, having to learn Kubernetes, now discovers that adopting the cloud-native PG operator, they would have to lean on another unfamiliar technology, being the re-implemented way of handling high availability. That's not an easy thing. We're talking about the total change of thinking in the known patterns and in a very critical value, which is high availability.
Right, it's become a nightmare in scale. We analyze so far HA only, but there's a lot more. So when you look into every database lifecycle aspect, it turns out that there's a different approach everywhere. It simply is a nightmare. Freddy Krueger.
So, okay, I totally get it, especially when you look at those numbers. And do you dare to guess what these numbers are?
Yeah, all of these are the number of versions we have seen from the most popular operators. These are not all the operators, because not all the open source operators are publicly sharing information about the versions. But yeah, this is like in 2023, we had 86 new operator version, 2024, 75 so far, and still counting. And you need to keep up with this.
They change from version to version, and what you came to understand today is going to be something different in a week. It's really hard, and there is not a tool that provides you a simple understanding what are the values that just came in with the last deployment, with the last update of their operator. And while we focus on these numbers and complexities, the world did not stop spinning. The expectations from our users and from business keep on growing. Our business is usually way further than we are in expecting what they want from us. But let's not dig into this as much as into our teams, like into DBAs, into SREs and DevOps, who know about the ease of use that could be there, yet they have to focus on those small little details to deliver the capabilities. And to sum it up, what is the magic sauce here that users are looking for? The managed databases are great, but hard to achieve in Kubernetes?
Right, so what we're essentially looking for is a reliable, cost-effective database deployment that has a user-friendly interface that our users can interface, so we can maybe shift the responsibility left, as everybody is right now looking into, right? And it looks like we have all the building blocks needed to create it. Just need to connect them somehow.
So data on Kubernetes is the answer, right? Containers are there to provide exactly what you're asking for.
Yes, Kubernetes scales up and down automatically based on the demand and has built-in solutions that help with high availability that we all know and love in Kubernetes.
And we have open source to lean on as well, like Kubernetes and PostgreSQL, because we chose this particular database to talk about, are both open source. It seems that there's also great benefits coming with that.
Yep, there are also opportunities to be free from vendor lock-in. There are plenty of open source solutions that you can keep, that allows you to use and will help you being free from that nasty vendor lock-in.
So unfortunately, the benefits come with downsides as well. We have seen how long it took for Kubernetes to deliver persistent storage scaling handling in a way that can be appreciated by the database providers. It's been a while, and I believe that there are way more other lifecycle operations that databases need from day to day to make the day two handled by operator in a way that we should expect, I believe.
Right, and it would be nice if you could get rid of all of those downsides, right, that we see here.
But so are you saying that?
Yeah, what if we could stop wondering whether your particular operator uses stateful set or something else, stop focusing on the details, and came back to our main mission? What was our main mission? We want to deploy our database, right? It's not about the operator.
So not focusing about whether we use stateful sets or not, but focusing on having the best of the two worlds in terms of experience, in terms of what our users are looking for. So what if we go back to this main quest and...
Yes. So we're all talking about Postgres all the time, but it's not only Postgres, right? There are other databases. And what if we can make this solution not on Postgres only dedicated, but have it actually multi-database? I knew you're going to love this picture. There's so much happening here.
I still don't understand why the turtle, though, but I'm fine.
Right. So please welcome to the stage our latest and greatest Percona Everest. And maybe real quickly, why we as Percona started investing in building. So as we mentioned at the beginning, Percona, every software we create is fully open source, Apache 2 license. So why we even decided to start investing, and we're investing for the past 3 years into Percona Everest. What we noticed immediately when we started releasing operators is operators are great. People who know Kubernetes are really happy and can use them very efficiently. What about the peeps who are not very familiar with Kubernetes? In order to use operator, you need to create a custom resource file. You need to understand how Kubernetes will reconcile and create and deploy. And these are not things that developers that we're trying to shift it left to are actually thinking of and focusing on. And what we notice, there is a huge adoption barrier for operators. Mainly, hey, it's great, we love it, but we try to onboard the rest of the team to the operator and they pushed back. So we decided to stay on the public DBAS.
It's hard to convince somebody who's used to controlling their database through UI, as in RDS, to now go back to like 5 steps back and think about all their little knobs that they have to turn in, well, usually in the text format actually. So that's why we like graphics, right? So let's dig into what has been delivered so far, and Everest. Let's just have a glance at what's available already for you if you go ahead and try it.
Yep, and I'm going to be very quick with this. What if we could deploy our database through the UI? What if we could design a replica set also through the UI, define affinity configuration? What if we could create backup policies? And so the way they match our internal policies. What if we could just sit back and see how the operators do all the heavy lifting for us? This is the reason why we decided to create Percona Everest. And of course, all the day 2 operations are also in there.
So right now, what we are facing with Everest is we are working to deliver it to the scale that you can use it on production for all of your databases. But we're looking for your feedback and what's next was blocking you to do that. We believe that it's already there, but maybe for your particular organization, there is a particular RBAC feature, roles and management, that you are missing to do that. And definitely, this is something we are looking for feedback on. The main problem in doing stuff open source is that while it's available to everyone, people getting stuff for free don't always feel entitled to asking for more. So we are in product development, and we need feedback about, yes, this is great, but this is missing. Oh, this is great, do more like this. This is the feedback we were looking for. Patting on the back that something is working, and actually sharing the drawbacks that we could make it better. And actually, this is open source, so if you feel that you're on the code level that you could contribute, that's totally fine. But contribution does not have to be code. Contribution can be also feedback. This is the big gap that we fail to remember, that sharing with somebody that we like it, starting the GitHub project is already something like that lets us know that you like it. Being active on the forum, commenting the blog post, it's something that tells us, yes, this is what you want to see. Or maybe saying, yeah, this is boring, you've already written that like 2 months ago, can you do some more? That's also important. We should focus, like this is the main reason, like the main goal of product management. do the right things, not do the things right, but do the right things. We want to do the right things at the right time. Maybe we are focusing on something right now, delivering value in a place that you say, yeah, but we cannot use that until you do the other thing. So please do try it, and please do share feedback with us.
Yes, we product manager, we love feedback, so it's basically everything.
So lastly, this is the moment where questions start. Before we start the question, whether all databases should run on Kubernetes, because we get it a lot, I will simply answer no. So let's not go into this rabbit hole, because I understand that maybe sometime in the far away galaxy, yeah, sure. For now, the big monolith databases, we don't see that happening. But if you want to get into those rabbit hole questions, please visit our booth on KubeCon. We have great T-shirts to people who participate in Everest demo as well. And we're ready for your questions right now. We have one more slide in the end, maybe. Let's go to the next slide and do the questions here. So that while the questions are being asked, you can also scan the code. And look, Everest, this is a walking mountain. Like, how can you not love this?
I love the UI that it makes it easy for people to create and also inspect. That part is open source.
Yes.
And the second question is, would that UI be possible to be integrated in something like Backstage if it's written in TypeScript and React.js, I think it is?
So the way Everest works is you deploy Everest into a Kubernetes cluster. It's got its own operator. We deploy our own pods with our API, backend, and frontend. So everything is self-hosted. You basically deploy it wherever you want. And you can connect it through the API. You don't need to use the UI. You can connect it through our typical REST API and integrate it with any platform. Actually, a lot of usage that we are seeing are platform engineering teams that build the whole internal platform so the developers can self-provision, self-install, self-manage, and they use Everest as the database piece because it basically provides everything built in. But they don't use our UI directly.
I heard something in between the lines, so I have to comment on this as well. So we provide free and open source software, period. There's no non-open source software from us. Everything is open source. We believe that if you have non-open source software, you will make somebody use it in the end. This is how it works. You've heard MongoDB CEO saying that open source for them is adoption technique. So this is basically open up the funnel and getting somebody into the proprietary software. We don't have non-open source. We do not monetize our software. We want you to be successful with using Everest and say, Jan, we love your software. We would like our staff not to focus on the simplest use cases that our teams come to us with support. So can you handle our support? Can you help us make our deployment better? And here we kick in with the best experts helping you with support or with consulting.
Really cool. How do you see this compared to things like Crossplane or other CNCF projects that are kind of also focused on helping deploy databases and platformize the whole thing?
It's a little bit similar like with the operators. Yes, there are platforms that are filling the same gaps. And when we started 3 years ago, it was a completely green field. There was absolutely nothing on the market. So I recently seen, I think it was a product was called KubeBlocks as well, that has a similar approach, but I believe their UI is proprietary. But it is similar. They can fill each other gaps somehow. I think Crossplane was it Postgres only, or was it multi-database as well? Oh, right. Right. So again, there are multiple solutions that are solving the deployment issue, and even the operators. Like you get a CR example, you put it in your CI/CD, and you can forget about it most of the cases, right? It actually really boils down into those day two operations. Can I give my developers access so they can just restore the database themselves? I don't need to bother with this. Or they need to scale it up? Fine, just scale it up. There's your environment. Do whatever you want.
And again, I will add here that typically, when you build a product that you want to be open core in any product, you want the developers to adopt it easily. This is the part that's open source. You monetize the day two. This is because if developers deploy the developer product based on your open source software, and in the end the business gets it, and here they do operations, they will have to pay for the license to use the open core. This is very often with a lot of products like this. Unfortunately, this is the issue. You get an easy open source deployment, and very often you don't get all the gimmicks that are needed during day two. You have to pay for them. Like this is monetizing of the source code. It seems open source, it isn't.
It happens very often that you build a POC with open source, and then you want to move from POC to an actual solution, and you're realizing that some of the enterprise features that you need are hidden behind a gate of, oh, for this you need a license, oh, for this you need this and that. So this is what we as Percona were trying to push the message that everything should be open source.
Sorry, I think there's also some.
Just a quick question: is this available on ARM64?
Not yet. ARM64 is actually on our roadmap. So making Everest and operators ARM64 is actually quite easy. What we're waiting on is our pillars. So our database distribution for MySQL, Postgres, and Mongo.
PostgreSQL is ready.
Yes, we're waiting, I think mostly for MySQL, to be honest. Yeah, Everest itself. So again, we will make Everest ARM ready within like 2 weeks, within one release, the moment we have all our database engines ARM ready. And then making operators and Everest operator ARM ready, this isn't an issue.
Would that be limiting to you, not having it on ARM currently?
We got a big push to stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see a great growth of ARM architecture.
Thanks, Mary, for the talk. I was just wondering, is the UI limiting in any way to the toggles that you can pull in the YAML definition file?
Right. So currently, yes. Like I said, the idea of Everest started about 3 years ago, but we started working on Everest actually a year and a half ago. So we are still catching up to multiple of the operator features. Operators are on the market for 3 years. They built very in-depth functionalities. What is really cool about this is if you cannot set it in Everest, you can tweak it in the operator right now. So there is this flexibility that you can still adjust. Our goal eventually is to get to the feature parity. Everything you can do in operator, you can also do in Everest through UI. But again, like challenges, we recently, the last feature we're working on is affinity configuration. What is affinity configuration for an operator deployment? Well, you define your affinity rules in your CR file and it's done. If you want to use it through UI and walk a user who doesn't know what Kubernetes is and doesn't understand the affinity, these are the challenges that we are facing building this UI. What we spend a lot of time as well is we're kind of pushing into the product. I call it codified Percona expertise. Over 20 years of building databases and managing databases, we learned a lot. So we're pushing a lot of this knowledge into our software.
Last question.
So let's say I use Everest to install on and use the databases, but I have another software to manage the database.
Mm-hmm.
So does Everest expose any APIs, let's say, that can be leveraged by the data management software to back up, restore, and migrate the database?
Everest itself not, but the database engines are.
Everest is the API first as well.
Yeah. We are, but if you want to use a different tool for backupping, for example, for MySQL, we're using Percona Extra Backup. If you want to use a different backup tool for MySQL, you would have to connect directly to the database, not through the even operator.
So if I understood correctly, the connection URL of the database would be used to just take, let's say, logical backup or something.
Yep.
Cool, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Multi-cluster is...
Multi-cluster is actually on our roadmap. We're going to start working on a POC in Q1 next year. So right now, Everest instances is single Kubernetes. You wanna, exactly, per cluster. But we are considering having multi-Kubernetes cluster, multi-cluster support. So you will install the main Everest in a single cluster. It can be even without any database permissions and whatever, and it would manage multiple different Kubernetes clusters.
Look at me now being like not the best buddy. Like you should do multi-cloud, multi-cluster, right? this is what users are looking for.
Clouds are actually agnostic to us. As long as the Kubernetes flavor is vanilla-ish, yes. Right.
Can you repeat the question so that
right. So the question is about Argo CD and Flux. Right now, in end of November release, we will release Helm charts. Helm charts will allow you to integrate with Argo CD and Flux. Oh, so you're afraid of reconciling it back again to the same stage? To be honest, I don't know the details. I would have to check. I know Argo CD is actually one of our top use case that we want to support with Helm. I would have to figure out how our technical team actually figured this out. We can connect later, or you can visit our booth, and I'll get this.
Seems like a great booth conversation.
Yes. We're out of time.
Well, Peter, Jan, thank you, and your AI elephants and dolphins. It was great. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in 5 minutes with our next session.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.